99X. Barnes and Leslie, we are the Morning X. Ticket window about to open. Brand new tickets for the week. It's Better Than Ezra coming back on November 19th. All this week we can get you in. And we are working on something super cool on Better Than Ezra related to stay tuned for. That's a tease, Leslie.
What, are you doing something on the side with Kevin Griffin?
No. This is non-Better Than Ezra. This is just something I was just saying. In addition to that, there's something other that might happen very soon.
You have all these side hustles, Barnes.
Side hustles. I want to bring up a topic and not make it a downer topic. I mentioned it briefly the other day, and the question is this: where were you when you got the bad news?
Yeah.
And it also can roll into what would you do when you got that bad news. And the example I used was a buddy who was at the Georgia National Championship a few years ago, and his father passed away. His wife was informed and chose not to tell him while he was at the game because it wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, I think you could look at that a couple of different ways,
could.
But I see what you're saying, yes.
I know, and that's probably the choice. If I were on the other end of that, I would say, well, what can it change? I have a story. I want to get to listeners, though. 470-741-4999. Where were you when you got the bad news? And what did you do? I mean, do you have one that you've been through?
Sadly, I do, and
What?
It was on this show.
Really?
Yeah. My older brother had been really sick, and he was in VA hospital in Mississippi. This is 2004. And granted, it was a year after my mom had passed away, and he was in the hospital. We thought he was getting better. I had just talked to him the day before, and I felt, so good. He's going to get out and blah, blah, blah. So we are on the air, and Lanny calls me, which he never calls me while we're on the air. So I see that he's calling me, and I'm like, I wonder what this is about. I pick up for him to tell me that my brother has passed away.
Wow, so he made the choice to go ahead and tell you, not...
Yes.
Wow.
And I don't know if you remember this or not, but I took my...
I was gone in 04. I left in 03.
I took my headphones off and walked out the door.
And then what did you do? Were you just...
I didn't say anything to anybody, and I just left. I was in shock.
Wow.
And I think I remember maybe calling Jimmy or something, but yeah. And we drove to Alabama, and I remember probably not saying a word the whole time because I was in shock. So yeah.
I didn't know that happened. A few people calling in. Hey, Morning X, good morning. It's a dog calling us. Oh, hey, hello.
Hooray!
Hey, who is this?
This is Jeremy.
Jeremy, so where were you when whatever the news was that you got?
I was a freshman in college, so I was in my dorm, and my mom called me at dark o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. I was like, what's going on? And she called me like, hey, Jeremy, I'm sorry to tell you this, but your dog died earlier this morning.
Being a freshman in college, I think that probably stings a little more. You just left home. Now you're somewhere, you're not used to. I'm glad you got another one, by the way. And
yeah.
What did you do?
It was sort of a case of, God crap, how am I supposed to deal with this? It was sort of a state of shock for a couple days. This is a dog I'd had since I was a kid.
Right. So there's nothing you can do.
Of course.
Yeah, so sort of kind of the ghost feelings, like, just sort of out of it for a couple days, kind of come to terms with that.
Yeah, that's weird being in a place like that. You feel kind of lost.
Especially a childhood pet that you grew up with.
Yeah. And your current pet, what's the dog's name?
The one who passed or the one I currently have?
The one talking right now.
Oh, no, I'm taking care of my neighbor's dog.
Oh, I thought that was yours,
okay.
mad at you because you're on the phone. All right, hey, thanks for sharing. Have a great day.
No, it's the neighbor's dog barking at the pool cleaner.
Oh, got it. All right, have a good one.
We don't like this pool cleaning machine. Arr!
See you later. Bye-bye.
Doodles.
He gave us a toodles.
It's like a family member. The dog answered the phone. Good morning, Morning X. Who's this?
This is Carmen.
Hey, Carmen.
Good morning.
Hey, we're talking about where were you when you got the bad news?
My family and I were in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. We were specifically in a movie theater watching the movie Passengers. There was 5 of us, so it's me and my husband and my 3 boys. And my husband's phone kept buzzing as if someone was trying to get in touch with him. So he left the theater eventually, and we're sitting there still continuing to watch the movie. And then my oldest son's phone started buzzing as well. And he looked at me and said, "We got to go now." And the first thing that ran through my head was something's happened with my husband's mother. That was, because she's, elderly.
Right.
But we had to walk through this packed theater, through all these people. It's pitch dark. We get out to the lobby, and I could just tell by the look on my husband's face that something was really wrong. And he just said, "She's gone." And I didn't know exactly who he was talking about at first. And then he said, "No, your sister's gone."
Whoa.
I don't remember anything. I mean, I remember in that moment there were, we're all standing there and I'm just in shock. And Emily was 40. So this was definitely not something we had expected.
Right.
She's in Ohio. I was in Colorado. The rest of my family was in Alabama. And anyway, we walked out of I don't know how I walked out. I think they kind of carried me out of the movie theater, and we had to sit on a bench and wait for a shuttle bus back to the place that we were staying. And so I remember vomiting in the bushes, and that's kind of the last thing I remember doing.
Wow.
Isn't that weird how your body takes over and goes into this weird state?
Yeah, again, I don't really know. I'm 100% sure that my boys and my husband were the ones that kind of, took care of me, because
Right.
I don't remember much of it. So
Yeah, you lose it.
yeah, totally lost it. So we sat in the condo that night, and my phone was ringing off the hook. We were trying to find my nephew, her son, who was training to be a PA, but he was jumping out of a plane somewhere, and nobody could reach him. And so we were stressed about that. And then he was in the Air Force. I'm sorry. So that was really difficult. And somehow my husband changed our flight. We were able to leave the next morning. We had I think it was an hour and a half drive back to the airport, surrounded by people. Again, this was just kind of me just numb.
Yeah, that's what's so strange is you go into that state, but you have so many steps now you have to complete to get to the the epicenter of where the problem is, whether that's with your family or where it happened.
Right.
And you just don't. All those details go super haze.
It's so surreal too. It's the same thing with funerals. You're supposed to immediately, be able to go in and pick out a casket, and you're still in trauma mode.
Hey, thank you for sharing that story. We're sorry that happened to you.
Very sorry.
Thank you. You're welcome. Good morning. Have a good day.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Yeah, the phone's blowing up. We'll come back, take a break, and get some more of these. It's an interesting study for your brain if you've not been in this situation to think about what would you do when it happens.
You can try to prepare yourself, but
It's trippy, and I've got a trippy story about something that happened to me when we come back. We'll get more. If you have a story you want to share, 470-741-4999. This is 99X.